So welcome everyone to our school library planner launch party with Demco. This is the third year of our school library planner. This is the 2024 to 2025 school year. I am beginning my 30th year of teaching. I am like so amazed by that. I am so invigorated. I'm so excited about it, actually. I love teaching even more than ever. So if you want to drop down in the chat where you're from and how long you've been teaching, that would be awesome. And I started out as an English teacher. And so maybe you weren't a school librarian all this time. So tell us a little bit about yourself in the chat. This is going to be an informal conversation. We're going to talk to some of our featured librarians in the planner, and we're also going to just have some chit chat amongst all of us about the planner and maybe about some back to school ideas that you have. At the end of our webinar, we are going to have a prize wheel, and we're going to have some fabulous prizes that are generously donated by Demco. Anyone who registered for this webinar is eligible to win because some of us have already started in the library and are not able to meet with us today. So everyone is eligible who registered for this webinar. So I'm going to start off with a statement. None of what we do matters. And you're probably thinking, oh my God, she just said that. Nothing that we do matters unless. And who wants to jump in with an unless? Nothing that we do matters unless. You could jump right in. You can turn off turn on your mic. Steve, what do you got?
Unless we can engage our students.
Yes, love that one. Yes. We had Anne say, unless we build relationships. Anyone else want to jump in? Just turn on your mic.
Install reading to our students.
Yes, reading.
Keep updated on the latest trends and technology, the newest things.
Yes.
Keep it interesting.
Yeah. Unless we better the world around us. That was another comment.
Unless we can find the joy.
Beautiful, Katie. Yes. Unless we're creative and curious, Angela says.
Unless we can connect the library to the classroom.
Great statement.
Unless we can kind of balance our professional and our personal life.
That's very difficult, I will admit.
Unless we care enough.
Rachel, I see you're on. Okay, so you know what? You were probably like, what is she talking about when I said nothing that we do matters? Yeah, everything that we do matters. But we need all of these things to matter as well. And you know what? What matters to me a lot is community. When I was an English teacher so many years ago, the community was the team that I was on. It was a middle school team. I was with 3 other teachers, and it was my team. It was my department. It was my school. It was my district. And that's what it was like for me 30 years ago. Now I'm part of a bigger team. I'm part of a bigger family. I'm part of all of you. I'm part of the school library planner community. I'm part of the whole school librarian system, the career, the spirit, I would say, around the world. So I want to thank you for that. Thank you for being a part of this. So I'm going to show you some things that I've been doing with the school library planner. And look at this. I was waiting for my planner and I needed a piece of paper to write my ideas for next year's planner already. So I have to transfer this piece of paper. Oh my gosh. So some things, okay. I know you're loving the tabs this year, friends. Yes. Loving the tabs. That was the #1 thing that you wanted, was those tabs. I'm going to show you some other things I've added. I did talk to you about the friction pens last time. Frixion. I love them. They come in different colors, and it's the eraser on the top that allows them to erase. Actually, it's not an eraser, it's friction. It really is friction. So there's a little science there. They come in a multitude of colors. So if you like using them, Minda also says they have highlighters, and they do have highlighters. And they are erasable highlighters, which I've never seen before, erasable highlighters, and come in different colors and are not that dark, dark blue, right? And that bright, bright pink. These are a little more pastel, and they can go right over your writing. So I love using these. Do not use Sharpies. Do not use Sharpies in your planner. Use your Sharpie to write your name on it. But friction pens work really well. I will say though, I do have this Sharpie highlighter, which is actually not as thick as this Sharpie. And look at it, it's clear. Isn't that weird? It's clear. So as you're writing, you could actually see what you're highlighting. I was an English teacher. I was an English major. So I always read with a pen. And I like to buy my books, and I don't use a Kindle because I like to have a book in my hand and a pen because I always like to mark it up. I bought these off of Amazon, these little clips, because I'm always losing my pens. When I put them down and people like my pens, they inevitably take them. So I take this and I put it right through the little slot. It's a little pen hook. Right? So I got that off of Amazon. I really like that. All right. I did hack my agenda, my planner a little bit too. I know people have talked about pockets. We have explored pockets in the past. The problem with pockets is the weight of it, people overstuffing. So I did find these small pockets that I could just put in a few little things. So I found those on Amazon or Target, and I haven't heard a lot of people talking about these coupons. Have you noticed these coupons on the back? By using these coupons, it'll probably pay for the planner itself with those savings that you get. The desktop planner has these really cool coupons, so that was what we added this year too. All right. Those are my hacks. Those are things that I do. And I did want to mention again that we do have our ducks in memory of my sister throughout the planner on the special days. So it's her birthday, it's Rubber Ducky Day, it's Harry Potter Day because that was her favorite book. There's special days around there. And of course, on our cover.
Does the desktop version come separately, or is that part of ordering the regular one from Demco? How does that work?
The desktop version is separate. They actually have older ones right now because when the year ends, or it's like kind of like at the end of the year, they go on sale. So they're nice to have because they do have some of the holidays, but not all the holidays that you get in the desktop in the school library planner. But it's nice to have. I like looking at a whole spread. But the problem is I put one of those plastic sheets on top because I'm always I work while I eat. All right. Anyone else, right? Your lunch at the table. And I always put that on top. And by the time I left school in June and I still had September on my desktop planner. I always have this open in next to me, so I don't even bother with a regular desktop planner. But if you like having something hanging up, is a lot more room to write, or if you want something maybe at your circulation counter, the desktop calendar might work for you as well. All right.
Do you have a digital version of this too?
We do not have a digital version. We've had people mention that they wanted a digital version, but there has not been enough to actually warrant a digital version. This planner has gone through a few iterations, and I've done prototyping. Again, I walk around with it. I walk around with the spiral. I change cover. I hack it during the year because I want to see what works best. We've had some people say they want digital. I don't know how that would work because I don't know if they mean digital like a Google Calendar. Do they want digital like a PDF? And again, not enough people have asked for it. and again, I don't want to lose people who like the printed planner. And I did put it out in our Facebook group. I did poll everyone, and most people wanted the printed planner. And in fact, when I first started this journey, I actually asked people, some of you might have heard from me like years ago, or have seen my posts. I asked people if they wanted a digital or printed. I thought it would be digital. Most people wanted printed, so I was very surprised at that. If in the future we see that there is more of a need, we could always consider it. Again, I'm always learning from you. I'm always taking your feedback. But as of now, there really hasn't been enough need to actually go that route. So we do have some people here who are featured in the planner. So if any one of you would like to talk about your tip or talk about what you're doing or what you're doing back to school, it doesn't have to be a planner or oriented. It's up to you. And open to anyone who has noticed any differences. Any power planner users over the last 1 or 2 or 3 years have noticed a difference. You're welcome to jump in too. But this time I'm going to take a hand so we don't have people talking over each other. So if you have a hand or you want to put it in the chat, if you want to speak, it's up to you. Again, casual conversation. Okay, who'd like to be first?
Lisa's raising her hand.
Okay, because I'm on this page. Who is raising their hand? Oh, go right ahead. Yep. Lisa, go right ahead.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, so I'm very excited to be in the planner this year with one of my tips. And I'll start off by saying it's been exciting. Last year, I mentioned the planner to some of the other librarians in my district, and they were using it. And this year, I actually got BOCES, our local BOCES, to buy the planners for the librarians who wanted them. So that was really great. So I know it's reaching more people in my local community too. So I'm hoping to build on that this year, which is really nice. It's nice when it can be a shared resource too. So you're not using it, just by yourself, but some of the tips, like anyone try this tip or anyone do that. So I'm looking forward to that this year because I think I know more people that have it in their hands close to me. My tip is kind of interesting as I was writing it. So mine is all about digital literacy, but not teaching in isolation. And this is I've done 3 years in a new district. I was 21 years in Connecticut, and then I moved to New York. And I've also spent some time teaching teachers who want to become school librarians. I did that for quite a few years as part of the ARC program in Connecticut. And so some of what I wrote, I need to follow my own advice because it's hard to do that when you're starting someplace new. So I think the idea of not teaching in isolation, but making sure, I think someone mentioned this earlier, like connecting to the classroom, what they're doing. I'm in a 5-8 middle school, and I do have set classes. I teach a 5th grade class, so that takes up about half of my day. And then I do have some flexible time as well, but I would love to collaborate more and get out there more, connect with other teachers. So my tip is for myself as well as for other people, because it is something that I know can be difficult when you feel like you have to manage the library and get the collection developed and all that stuff running and feel, but I am lucky that I am located right across from the main office. So I do get a lot of visual, and I have these huge windows, which can be a blessing and a curse because everyone sees what I'm doing in the library all the time. But I have these, I just used like those trifold poster boards. I can stick them in the windows sometimes when I need my students to not be so distracted by what's going on in the hallway or the office. But it's also great that I can just wave down everybody, or they can see what they're doing, and I can try to connect. So that's my hope for this year, to use the planner more with colleagues and to try to follow my own advice and to get some more interaction with other grades and other teachers.
So Lisa, for people who are not in New York, could you explain what a BOCES is? Because you mentioned at the beginning, a BOCES has purchased the planner. What is a
Yeah.
BOCES?
So I'm in the Ulster County, BOCES area. So we have a regional, it's actually quite nice. I felt in Connecticut, I was in a smaller district as well. So I had, there was only 4 of us in the whole district, 4 librarians. And now I'm in a much larger district. I'm so fortunate that I even have another middle school. So there's 2 middle schools that we can even collaborate. So that is already quite such a difference. But then with BOCES, it's a regional education center kind of. So you're in New York as well, Christina, so I'm sure you have your BOCES down there. So all over New York, there's different BOCES centers that work with groups of districts. So in addition to like my district collaboration group, I have a county group, and we're trying to meet more frequently as well. So I'm meeting other librarians across the county as well, and not just in my district.
I think a lot of what you say is so important about making connections. And that was one of the reasons why I invited librarians like you to offer your tips, because so often we're islands unto ourselves and we don't know. Anyway, some people are not on social media and they don't know who to connect with. And I really feel like this will help them connect on a certain level. Thank you. Minda, I see your hand up. Hi, Minda.
Hello, everybody. So this is actually my 3rd planner that I've gotten from Demco. So, I feel like I've been with it for a while. I am actually the odd man out. So, I was a librarian for 2 years before I lost my position, and I haven't been able to find another one. So I'm not currently a school librarian. I'm a special ed teacher. So, I actually use I would show you my planner, but I can't because I keep my IEP data in it. So, I have kind of modified mine to, like I still keep all of like my recommendation list and like things that I'm reading and things like that. And I keep a budget, but I keep a budget for my classroom. So, that's been a little interesting. I'm also a PhD student, so I turn my planner into keeping up with all my due dates. So, I use mine very differently from everybody else. I actually use, let's see, I can show you. I use the big, huge, like claw clip to keep my space. And I did have, oh, there's my paper clip that just keeps my weekly, and I'm actually clipped my month. So, because those are the 2 places that I use the most. So my tips are actually for like planning media lessons. So, I actually thought about this from like my first year as a librarian, because I didn't have a community yet. And the only people I knew were other grad school students. So I was kind of like learning things as I went. So my tips are kind of like if a veteran read them, probably would look at it like, man, this is common sense. But it wasn't common sense my first year. So I think of planning lessons from the point of view of a sped teacher and as a who all can I ask of what they need sort of thing. So those are kind of my tips, and I hope they're helpful for somebody that's looking for help.
Minda, I love that you're looking at it through a different lens and that you've explained how you've hacked your planner, because it's important to to use it the way you need to use it, and the fact that you are bringing some of us have began as school librarians. Some of us have other have other certifications, and I feel like every day is like different. And I can learn from special ed teachers so much. I can learn from English language ENL teachers. I can learn from science teachers. I can learn from everybody. So I thank you, Minda, for that. Thank you so much. I see Carrie Ann, her hand is up.
Hello, I'm Carrie Ann and I am in Raleigh, North Carolina. I just shout out to my Long Island people. I'm originally from Long Island, so I don't know if any of you guys know where a small town Cutchogue is.
Yep.
That's
Oh, yeah.
That's all the way out past the Long Island Expressway. But anyway, hello. I am featured in the school librarian planner. I talked about, well, if you want to know, I'm at 212. That picture in there, page 212, is honestly that picture I just use constantly. You know what I mean? It's a good picture. And so don't judge if I don't look exactly like the picture anymore. Yay, there I am. Yeah. So that's just a stock photo I use for everything now. But anyway, I talked about the tip was like media literacy and using AI to kind of help with lessons, especially using like magicschool.ai. But I just wanted to highlight, I absolutely love the QR codes that are with each month where you get like the list of resources that are linked to Wakelet each month. I just absolutely love that addition. And I had so much fun going through all of them and like scanning them just to see the awesome resources. So thumbs up to you. I love that. So that's all I wanted to add. Thanks.
Well, should I release an idea that Heidi and I were talking about for next year?
Yes, please.
Yes, yes, yes. So I would have a Wakelet QR code of resources, and I will update these resources throughout the year, and I will put them for people who haven't bought the planner again in the past. But I'm going to have another QR code. Haven't decided the format yet, so I'm not going to say what it is. Another QR code to crowdsourced resources each month. So now you all can share your resources. So you're going to have even more to look at. So it's not quite digital, but you're going to be able to scan those QR codes and get even more information. That's one of our big additions for next year that we were talking about just 2 weeks ago. What do you think? You like that? Yes.
Love it.
The smartest person in the room is the room. So thank you for that. All right, Steve. How you doing?
Oh, Mandy's
good.
hanging out there too with her hand up.
Okay, Mandy, we're gonna have you after Steve. Gotcha. Okay.
Sorry, I was clapping. I was
Oh, you were
raising my hand,
clapping.
so I
Okay.
was just clapping. Yay.
Okay, clapping. Okay.
Please,
All
Mandy,
right.
go right ahead.
All right, Mandy, off to you.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm on page 202 with 15-minute bite-sized advocacy ideas, and I referenced in there that your planner has some great data collection tools for you. So I wanted to kind of, oh, it's blurring because I blur my background. But it's like page. Thank you. I was actually gonna hold up a page 23, the August like collection sheet is what I call it. So a lot of the advocacy that I do, because I serve preschool through 12th grade school library. And last year I also taught 2 sections of 6th grade English. So I don't have oodles of time. Merci. Thank you, Christina. So I found this page to be really useful because I am running all the time. And I don't always remember at the end of the month what I did that month. So I write everything down. This year, I'm very, very fortunate. I have a library para who is amazing. And we purchased a planner for her as well. So we can sit down at the beginning of each month, decide what our goals are going to be, and go through what we want to make happen that month. We also use a lot the calendar every month because she makes most of our social media posts that are pre-planned days. So we go through and it'll blur it, but you maybe can see some highlighting. I don't know, where we go through and we highlight the days that we would like to feature on our library social media. And if we want to tag anyone in it or businesses that we work with, things like that, we write those down as well. So she's amazing. She takes care of all of that. And we're really excited to use our planners together this year so we can have a well-oiled machine.
Well, I'm going to piggyback on that, Mandy, because if you use Canva and your Canva is attached to your social media, you do not need to download, because my desktop gets so cluttered. You do not need to download and then upload. You can actually push out from Canva through your social media and schedule it. So you can be sleeping and these things can be pushed out. You can push out a whole month in advance so you can save time. You could also, which I've done also, I have pushed out emails. So I sent emails in June. I've drafted them through Outlook that are going to come out in September, right? Because as soon as it's in my head, I put it in my email and then I schedule it out later. And then it could be either to the whole school or to that one person or even emailing myself. So I'm emailing myself in the future. So you might even want to do that as well. If there's a special event, create your post, create your email, schedule it out when it's in your head, and then save time. You can also save time when you bulk your work. It's the Pomodoro effect, where you chunk your time in 15-minute blocks, 30-minute blocks, what have you, and you do all the similar things at once because you're already in that mode. Create your announcements, create your emails, and bulk them out, bulk schedule them, and then you can do a brain dump and it's nice and fresh when you come back the next day, the next week, the next month, or the next year. So that's a little tip that I use. All right, thank you so much, Mandy. Would anyone else like to speak? I've got Casey here. I don't know if Casey
got her
and
hand up, Andrea and Bernadette.
Awesome. So we're going to go with Casey first, and then Andrea, and then Bernadette.
I think Andrea had her hand up, so I'll wait till Andrea's finished.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Casey, you could have gone. It's totally fine. Hi, I'm Andrea Trudeau. I'm a librarian in a middle school just north of Chicago and just starting my 27th year. So kind of like you, Christina, it feels sort of surreal. 10th year in the library, best job ever. I'm excited to be featured again this year in the planner, and I'm excited because my page mate is here, Steve. Shout out to Steve over there. We're side by side in the planner. So my focus has been, and I don't know if all of you feel this way, I feel like ever since we've come back from the COVID weirdness, there's been a lot of issues with regulating ourselves. And I'm saying ourselves because I'm seeing it not just with students, but also with adults. And for me, it has prompted a really strong push to support the overall kind of mental health and social emotional well-being of my students. So I've created kind of up by my circ desk a little calming corner. And it's just basically a bookshelf where I've put little baskets of little stacking toys. I've got magnetic like sorting puzzles, which have turned out to be, that was kind of a happy accident. My mom gave me one because my niece and nephew weren't really into it. And they're, at the time they were like 6 and 8. And she's like, maybe your kids will like them. I'm like, Mom, I'm in a middle school. No one's going to want to do this. Well, that's turned out to be like the most popular thing. You come in and you can like sort colors into these little paint tins. The principal would come in and do it all the time. And then kids love to kind of like shake it up and try it again. We've branched out. We've got meditation pillows now. So students can go and find a little corner and do like some belly breathing. I've got all kinds of like cards to help them. So like figure 8 breathing. And I think it's been really transformational because what I'm finding is that when students are struggling, it's easy for me to like kind of interject myself into a lesson and say, hey, let's go over here. I'm going to show you this. I want to help you out. Or I have kids that are purposely coming to the library to get the tools, to the point where we now have a new principal. And I was telling him that this is something I think we need to be instituting in all of our classrooms, like giving all the teachers some tools to have on hand. So moving forward in the year ahead, I'm really excited about a tool called Mirror and Mirror Talk created by Swivel. And I have a mirror in my library. I've been just sort of playing around with it. It's a tool that really emphasizes this notion of reflection, where there's a lot of recording and it asks you these questions and you talk, and it kind of gives you this feedback using AI, which I think is pretty fascinating. So that's something that in the year ahead, I want to dig into and look at this piece of, self-awareness and how that can help us with our social emotional learning and healing as well.
So I was listening to you and I was like, I hope she shares the resources. And you did. QR code. So I'm scanning this. I have like, like Zen puzzles and coloring and things like that. But I love the card idea. And I do have like a community service cart in my library. I'm thinking now a common corner cart as well. We have a very small library, but that could be something that can be moved around and maybe be even used in the social worker's office. You may be used with guidance counselors. Great way to connect with your the other people in your school. Thank you so much for those ideas, Dr. Trudeau.
Thank you.
Let's all congratulate Dr. Trudeau on getting her doctorate. Yes.
Thank you. It still doesn't feel real, but thank you.
You're welcome. Awesome. Okay. Bernadette, are you ready? Or Casey, would you like to go? Bernadette is pointing to you, Casey.
Okay, I just didn't want to jump in front of anyone because, of course, I was late rushing to get in here as normal. Good afternoon to everyone. My name's Casey Boyd. I'm a middle school librarian. I have 6th, 7th, and 8th graders in Southwest DC, and this is year 26. Wow, of working in school libraries exclusively. I just wanted to come in and just thank Christina again because I purchased the planner the very first year, and I also purchased it last year. It was very helpful to me on a lot of different levels. First of all, having the type of layout that I have in my library and a makerspace, I'm like all over the place. And the planner I keep at my circulation desk in my lobby. And anytime I would jot something down, like in the notes section of my phone, I would transfer it over to my planner. And I'm not much of a writer, but what I found myself doing was doing a lot of journaling and brainstorming. That was one. Two is the organizational piece in the planner. I liked how it's like you have a month layout, then you also had the week layout, and then I could kind of like really, draw some things out, think about some things, think about what I want to do. And, sometimes scratch things out and say, hey, this is not going to work out. Maybe I could try this next year. Was every project successful? No, it wasn't, but at least I tried, and it was noted heavily because teachers and the administration really saw a difference in library programming because I added on a lot of activities that I had done in years past and I had gotten away from doing. And it reminded me, like, yes, there is a National Popcorn Day. We need to celebrate this because this is how you keep the kids' attention, right? So, you know these things, but you forget about them because, you've been doing the work for so long. So it's a great refresher. I love all the QR codes, all the links, all the ideas, all the tips. I loved how I could take something from the planner and kind of massage it and modify it for my group that I'm working with and their temperament, most importantly. So I give credit to Christina and Demco because the last 2 years of me having this planner and becoming more organized and more focused, I have been able to get a over 10,000 circulation checkout of my students for books. That's ebook and print book combined. And we only have 400 kids in the building. So the circulation just went through the roof. And so there's so many activities that I was able to streamline Sora into book displays, just reading motivation, which my population of students really, really need because some of them are just reluctant readers, and now they are reading. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't say enough. In fact, I got to go up to the school and pick up my planner because for the second year in a row, my district director has purchased the entire librarian group in DC the planner. So this is year 2 of everybody receiving that planner. So thank you again, Christina. Keep it up.
Thank you so much. Casey, when Casey told me these things the other day, I was in shock because again, we're in our own little silos, and I hear you and I see you, but I don't get that vibe unless we're at a conference together, and then I'm like, oh, it's it's you, Um, but hearing that from you, Casey, it just means so much because I like to write things down. I jot things down. Um, and if I see something that I like, on social media, I will take screenshots, but then I'll forget. I'll forget to go look at them again. I can literally open up this planner and just write down, don't forget this, with the picture of whatever, and I could look at it later. I'm so thankful um, to your director at DC for doing that as well. I've heard people saying that their consortiums, their groups have gotten it, and it's almost like a book study because you could really say, oh, did you do something did you see that on that day, or did you see this on this day, or did you try this tip? I really think it brings people together. Communication really brings people together. So thank you so much. And now we're on to Bernadette. Hey,
Hi
Bernadette.
there. I had to move inside because the cicadas and the lawn crew and everybody else was so noisy. I was like, this isn't going to work. So this is my third year with the planner. And every year there's like some little new gift or new little thing to find. And that's kind of my favorite part about it, is just seeing it evolve and seeing how you take the feedback that we give you and make it even better every single year. So that's my favorite part about it, and why I keep coming back to this community and just getting great ideas. Last year with all the tips, I literally took a whole day and I just sat down and I looked everybody up on all the different social media platforms. I was like, follow that, follow that, follow that, follow that. So I'm in there this year. I have a diverse tip, a way to build diversity in the library, using my 5th and 6th graders to help me figure out how diverse is our library. It's kind of been, the first time I did it, it was eye-opening for them because we looked at our school population and we're pretty diverse. And then we looked at our books and they were like, oh, it doesn't match. There's not a correlation there. So we really dug into what kind of books can we get to create more diversity? How do we buy books? What are the parameters when it comes to money and things like that? So I thought it was a really great learning opportunity for my older students to really get engaged in learning how to use their voices, amplify their voices, and get better at advocating for what they need and what they want to see in their library. So when we switched to the monthly layout, it went from like a 2-page to a 1-page, which was fabulous. And there was this huge conversation of like, well, how do we take this box and meld it with this box, and how do we make it all work? And so I kind of kept some of the old stuff, but this is that monthly box page. And I really, when I got the planner, I sat down and I went through every single month, and I write reminders to myself of, like, it's kind of my long range planning. This is what my topics are each week. These are my my data for every month. So it's a reminder to go back and actually check, how many books did we check out? How many books did I read? How many books did I add? Our district requires us to document a certain amount of parent contact time outside of the classroom and PD time. So I use that to jot down, oh, I went to this webinar, I listened to Boss Librarian last week for 30 minutes on this day. So this counts now towards, they use it to kind of balance out the days that we get off at Thanksgiving. And then I also use like the special programming box to, like, this is the bulletin board I'm going to create, and this is the interactive display that I'm going to do, and this is like our special event. So I kind of hacked those 2 pages together because it was great. The first one, it really made me think more about what kinds of things I wanted to keep track of. And so it was just kind of meshing those 2 together. So I've really enjoyed the planner. I keep coming back for more and more and more. And so, yeah, that's my share.
I think, you remind me that, we do so many things that it's easy to forget what we do. And sometimes we just do things so naturally that we don't write them down, or we don't think it's a big deal. but every single thing you do, every single person you speak to, every PD, every book that you order, everything that you do is so important. And data, yes, you know, admins love to see data, but it's also data for us to reflect on our own profession and what we're doing and how we can become better and better. And I go through the old planners and I see what I can improve on, and it refreshes my memory of what's going to come up, what things worked, what things didn't work, who I need to reach out to again, like reminding me, oh, okay, there's that project coming up. I blocked some time for that person, or you know what, I got these social studies teachers to come in, but not this one. And I have to do that a few weeks ahead of time, because we need to realize we're on their time, not on our time. We have to think about their time, our teachers' time. As a high school, we have 4 quarters, so we have midterms and finals, and you know what times of the year are busy, and you know what times of the year they're grading. You just know, you get that rhythm, and I think this reminds me also. So thank you, Bernadette. I see Katie's hand up.
Well, yeah. So I am currently in Iowa visiting my son, and my planner is in California. I already asked my friend who's checking on my fur babies, hey, is my planner there? Is my planner there? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, no, it's going to come like this. I need to know it's there. So like, yay, it's going to be like a delayed birthday present for me when I return. And I was like listening to everyone talking here, like, oh my goodness, that's a great tip. That's a great tip. So I'm making notes like, oh, I need to look at this person's like, oh my gosh, that's not what I do, because that goes against my tip for all of us right here too. There I am. So my tip with the tips is start there. I know it's towards the back of the planner, but like legit, go to the back first, like what we used to do old school style. Go look at that index of the book. Go look at those tips first, because like you heard all these great ideas. You need those ideas to plan your lessons with your incoming classes. I mean, great ideas to like plan how you're going to schedule, how you're collaborating with other teachers, how you're going to get together that newsletter. If you've delayed on that, like this is the year. I promise there's ideas in there. Christina has great planning tips in there month to month to help us organize that. But like totally, the big tip is go to the back first. See what you want to implement for the beginning of the year. Maybe make those notations, the delayed emails we've talked about, like send those to yourself. Oh yeah, I want to do Dr. Trudeau's tip at this time. You have that email already scheduled for you. Poof, it pops up, and that nice reminder, because the 50,000 things we have going on. Oh wait, that's a hyperbole. It's like 60,000 things, right? We forget the things we want to do for ourselves, for our students, for our colleagues. So like, yeah, so that's the big tip. Go to the tips first, read all of them, and then schedule it out.
Well, it's so funny because the first year I did it, I wrote all the tips, and I had a tip each week, and they were supposed to reveal themselves, you know, like a gift, you know, each week. And I saw my friend Diana, who is a former colleague of mine, a photo of her sitting at the beach reading all the tips first. I'm like, you opened all the presents. And then I'm like, wow, maybe you're right. Maybe you need to look at the tips at your own time.
Wait, I'm
Maybe
confused. What do you mean maybe I'm right? No.
the customer is always right. At first I was like, oh my gosh, she's not doing it right, because you're supposed to, like, you know. And then I'm just like, well, maybe that's the way she wanted to do it. And you know, you're right, because I'm like, maybe you need to chunk your time and look at all the tips. Maybe you just want, and I forgot who it was, but someone said they wanted categories, and that's why it's categorized this year, because someone said, you know, again, I can't categorize elementary, middle, and high because we have such a mix of people, and sometimes we are working with a different audience and in a different environment, so it really doesn't matter middle, you know, elementary, middle, or high, because you can modify it. But at least the categories, maybe focus on a certain category. Maybe it's something that you've been really wanting to do. Maybe it's a goal of yours. Maybe advocacy is something that you really want to work on. Maybe diversity, you have, you know, you have a problem with, you have to diversify your collection. So that actually came from feedback. So again, it's my baby, but then I'm like, well, now it's everybody's baby, because it takes a village to raise a baby.
And my tip is game of quotes. Thank you, Pam, mentioning that in the chat. I would love to hear how it goes. But that's something you can do any time of the year. When I started, I did it in spring because I had this internet fiasco, which you can go to Steve's podcast and you'll hear all about that fun bit. Not really fun, but if you go ahead and read the tips first, maybe that's something like, oh my gosh, yeah, I need to do that at the beginning of the year because I have these teachers coming, but my admin pulled me in all these directions, so I didn't have something to plan. Well, now you have something that's already like at the ready to go, but you don't know it's at the ready if we haven't like looked there first. So extra kudos to you, to Christina, for just like doing a good job. We curate all the awesome things, including we curate awesome people. And that's what you've done there, helping get all these great tips.
Oh, thank you. This is a, they say the living library, they talk about like the library as a group of people and telling their story. This is you. This is you. Steve, I see your hand up.
I had to jump in because Katie talked about how we've got 60 million things to do, and you had mentioned PD and thinking about the planner, and I had to talk briefly about not my tip, but somebody else's idea. At Casey's PD these past couple of days, on the third day, I think it was, S. Michelle Eccles presented on using your, doing a personal or a work, oh shoot, now I'm going to mess it up. A planner journal basically is like a work planner journal. So when she started talking about that, I was like, oh yes, what a great idea this is. And it's like, you've already built it. Like it's there for us to use. And I know that I am not awesome at keeping track of what I do. So I had to make myself a note. When I heard that, I went onto my calendar and I set a weekly reminder to myself, spend some time writing down what you do this week, take some pictures. Like I'm thinking about how I'm going to set different reminders throughout the year, but like I made sure I put at least one every week for get into your planner, write down some of the things you did, because otherwise it's just in one ear, out the other, so much going on. It's easy to lose track of. So thank you for giving us a place that we can do all of this in a very straightforward and consolidated way.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. On that note, I am going to, there are some pages that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about in the past, and it's the goal setting sheet. The goal setting sheet and even like the curriculum mapping, this is really, whether you're elementary or not, the ebb and flow of your school, when there are different parts of the curriculum are being taught. And this year, some people didn't know how to use it. And again, it's the curse of knowledge. When you've been teaching 30 years, you figure everybody knows. Not everybody knows. So that's why this year I was a little bit more explicit and wrote the directions in there for you. And you don't have to use them that way. It's up to you. But the curriculum mapping is really good. You don't have to write a lot. And I tell you, years ago, I went into a meeting with my administrator, and she wanted a 5-year plan. And that's where this came up from, the needs assessment. What do you need? If you need help, if you need an assistant, then put it in here. If you need funding, then put it in here. If you need more time, put it in here. Because when you have that conversation with your administrator, you're going to have the reasons why. You could put in the standards, you could put in what you have now, what you want to have, and that's why you have your action plan. Make it a 1-year plan, make it a 3-year plan, make it a 5-year plan. It doesn't matter, but at least you can actually sit down and have a discussion. You need more of what and why do you need it? And don't forget the habit tracker. The habit tracker is not just, did you eat today? It's, did you drink water? Did you walk your steps? Did you take time for yourself? Did you have time with your family? It's a habit tracker. Again, this is for you. This is for self-care. It's not just about the profession. It's about making yourself, filling your own bucket, right? We talk about filling buckets, filling your own bucket too. So then you have more to give because you're filling your own first, right? There's your habit tracker. So thank you. Casey, I see your hand back up again.
Yeah, the Pomodoro app you referenced during your talk at Boss Librarian PD, that's an app I never heard of, and I've been kind of playing with it here at the house for the last couple of days. And it really helps me keep on track because when I get deep into something, I get deep and then I forget to take a break from my own doggone self. The second thing is you were talking about the goal setting section of the planner. For me, I've used that for my evaluation in terms of I look at last year's evaluation, I write down the areas that my principal said, oh, I need to see a little more improvement in this area. And then I just set that as that goal for the year. And then I write out like, how can I obtain these goals? What can I do? Instead of trying to do it at the last minute. And then, I want to be highly effective. And in my district, to be highly effective, you can't just show evidence that you've done it once. You have to be consistent in doing the work. So, how do you become consistent? You write the goal down, and then you also, um, at the beginning of the year, you constantly go back to that. Maybe put a note at the beginning of the month, or either twice out the month, at the beginning of the week, saying, hey, you got to do this. Make sure you do this. Show evidence, send an email, show evidence. You know what I mean? So, yeah, the goal setting was really helpful for me, especially with having a new principal this year. Thanks again.
You're welcome. You could even put you could highlight on the month, you could put stars, you could put check marks to remind you to do that, right? And Casey was referring to my session during Boss Librarian PD, which I was on vacation, so I can't wait to sit down and watch your videos. If you haven't seen it, it's Casey does a wonderful, wonderful job putting some fabulous PD out there. So I was talking about habit trackers. I was talking about the Pomodoro timer. You could look for these apps. You could find them online. But I'm actually going to show you my little clock. Hold on one second. Here is my little clock. And I got this at Target in the bargain booth, right? The bargain area. And it has different times. I wish I had a 5-minute, but that's okay. And all I need to do is turn it on. And whatever time I want, that's the time on top. So this is 15 minutes. And it times me. So going down that rabbit hole of YouTube videos, watching TikTok, or even like doing the dishes or doing some laundry, you just want to get it done. Time yourself. Okay. I know. We don't need another clock in our lives because we have to wait until the bell rings to go to the bathroom. I understand that, but I'm a time waster. I am a time waster. And so I got this for my kids. I got it for me. You could put any timer on that you want, but I really like this. I also use Mr. Timer on YouTube. He's got a lot of great videos. Some have music, some don't. And it's a visual timer. When I put a timer up in my class, it's not for my kids. Honestly, it's for me, because like when I packed, I had so much stuff I brought back that I didn't even wear. I try to fill up a lesson with more than I will ever need. I kind of overstuff things. So this kind of focuses me, these little timers. Does anyone else want to give a shout out? Again, you could be someone who is featured in the planner, or something that you've done with the planner, or if you're brand new to the planner, if you have any questions, you can give a shout out.
When do you guys start using it?
I use it already. I do not go back to school until September, but I'm already writing things down. And in the back, which I haven't started yet, but my back page are my ideas for next planner. As soon as I see something on social media, as soon as I see a librarian out there who I'm like, I need to reach out to them and feature them. As soon as I am like, oh, you know what, this is working, this is not, this is always my last page or my planner notes. So I'm already starting. I actually put things down that I have to do now, even on vacation, things that I need to do.
And that's kind of the thread that's also coming up in the chat, that everybody that's chatting right now is using it right now, or the second that they get it.
Right? Like we don't start until September, we end in June, but that was I realized the first year that we needed to start in July, because some schools start in July. So That's why we had to shift. So again, don't forget in the front, I mean, if you're part of the Facebook group, or even if you're just friends with me, because you all are, you can reach out to me, but don't forget, there's that QR code. I'm still getting, it's one spreadsheet since day one, so I could look at everything. It's a spreadsheet it's a Google form, a spreadsheet that I get to look at, and I get feedback on that. I get feedback on it. I look at that. I see what I can change. I reach out to the people who give me feedback in that spreadsheet. Again, it may not be a digital version, but it's living, it's breathing, it's dynamic, because it's what you bring to it and what you're getting out of it and how you're hacking it to fit for you. All right. Any other suggestions? Anyone? Oh, actually, you know, I'm going to bring up one more thing. The page numbers. People have been talking about page numbers. I didn't think we needed it the first year, but you know what? Page numbers. Someone noticed that. They like that. And again, if you like reading all the tips, like Katie says, at once, go for it. If you want to go by category, you can. Or if you just want to go week by week, I'm reminding you right up here to check out someone's tip. Every week we'll say whose tip to check out. This way it reminds you. Don't forget to put your win for the week. I don't care if it's just the fact that you survived the week. You put it down, all right? At the end of the year, you're going to see all those wins for the week. It's going to be that one kid who took out that book. It's going to be the one day that you got, you know, all your steps in. It's going to be having that difficult conversation with maybe with a friend of yours. Whatever it is, put that in your win for the week, professional or personal, because at the end of the year, you're going to need some positivity to look back on. This is for you. That's your win for the week. Heidi, should I talk about the other idea we're thinking about on the bottom?
You can let that go whenever you want to.
I don't know. I don't know if I give out too much. Well, we do have that other secret. I'm hoping that I will not share yet. Hopefully it will work out. We can discuss that one later. But the other secret is the bottom here, that quote. So we've had some people say, oh, you know what? The quotes are great, but we need some more diversity. We need to have more updated quotes. Sorry, a lot of the quotes are dead white men because they're in public domain. All right. So that is what we have a problem with the quotes. So I don't think I'm going to give you all of it, but we are going to change up the quotes to give you a little bit more resources for next year. Let's just put it that way. We're going to give you something else that you can use on the bottom. Those of you who like quotes, sorry, but I think you're going to really enjoy the added bonus that we're going to put on the bottom next year. That's actually going to, I don't know, give you something more to think about. So I'll give you a little teaser on that. All righty.
Christina, I put it in the chat, but I just wanted to tell you, I just was at PD last week for Smart School grant, and we learned about Magic School, which is AI for teachers. So I just wanted to share it out. It's free for everyone. You just have to use a school email. It's AI to help you do whatever you need to do, whether it's to diverse text for students at different levels or come up with a sample, even if it's a quote or a poem or whatever. And I learned more about Canva, so you can take stuff from AI, put it into Canva, and then create a book for your kids on a different level on any document. So I just thought that you might want to share that out.
Well, thank you, Lynn. You know, I'll jump on that because you know what? Our Canva showcase is going to be on Saturday. It's going to be on August 3rd, our Canva Librarians and Teachers Showcase. It's going to be our summer edition. We had a fall, winter, or spring. This Saturday will be our summer edition. If any of you still want to present, just reach out to me. The videos are pre-recorded, so you can record, you know, tonight or tomorrow and then be in the beach on Saturday. You don't need to be on your computer. that's all fine. If you're not in my Canva Librarians and Teachers Facebook group, jump in it. The registration is in there. And again, I do have a spot or two left if you want to present. It's only about 25, 30 minutes and it goes very quickly. And there will be a certificate of participation. And we do have a Canva Librarians and Teachers website. If anyone, if you could find that link, or if you're in the Facebook group, you could find the link. It's Canva Librarians and Teachers website. And in there, we have the past showcases with certificates of participation on those as well. And each one of them, I think, were about 5 or 6 hours. And they're in small bites of a half an hour each. And a lot of them are very friendly that you could probably even use with your students, and that you could probably even use with your teachers, because they're not all library oriented. There's a lot of reading, there's a lot of writing, and even talk about accessibility, lots of different topics. So that's the Canva Librarians and Teachers Summer International Virtual Showcase on Saturday. Hey,
I
Kate.
would like to add, you can use, your students now can use Magic School.
Yes. Thank you, Francis. Awesome. Hey, Katie.
Okay, so I just wanted to reiterate that yes, those sessions are friendly for even your students. There's quite a few of them I've actually packaged into a hyperdoc for my students to do the idea, the reading challenges or scavenger hunts in the library, and the students love that. And it's just another chance too for advocacy of these awesome librarians and all the things that we do as a network. And I don't know, I'm even gonna get it explaining it. I love being able to showcase others, whether they're my students or other fabulous librarians. So just yes, all that awesome happening.
We are all better together. Again, smartest person in the room is the room. I come to the experts, I come to you. Okay, so friends, we're going to wrap it up. We've got Heidi from Demco. She's heard your feedback, and we're gonna we'll have debrief in the future, and she and I will sit and chat, and we'll talk about what we could do to, improve the planner in the future. Again, we are listening to you, and we have some prizes. So I'm going to turn it over to Heidi, my mentor, and now my friend.
Thank you. And I'm going to share the screen so we can remember what the prizes are before we spin the wheel. Everybody see my screen?
Oh. Yep.
Okay, so we have 4 prizes that everybody that registered will be eligible to win. The first one is our new Shark book return buddy. These are things that you can put on the outside of your indoor book returns to make them a little more fun and graphic and encourage kids to put their returned books in the right place. We have one of our Windows to New Worlds wall decals. These are repositionable and removable large window decals. So it looks like you're looking into a genre. There's a bunch of different ones. We're offering the fantasy one here. We have some of our Made You Look easels. These are just book easels that once the book is taken off, there's a little reminder of what might have been there. So if you're doing the new book ones, it has a little image of a Post-it note saying somebody nabbed this one, but keep coming back. And then one of our winter stick-togethers. So that is what we'll be giving away. And now we'll go to the wheel. So we'll spin the wheel 4 times, and once you win, you'll be removed from the wheel so that everybody else will get a chance.
Has anyone used this wheel of names? Because I really want to.
This wheel is the easiest thing to use that's out there for this kind of purpose. It's literally wheelofnames.com, and you can enter in all the names. You can change the color. You can put an image in the middle, and you can have the program automatically generate what colors are used. Super
Thanks
easy.
to thanks to Dr. Steve. I used it for my raffles the last 4 days of the PD.
Well,
yes, it is wonderful. You can change the colors and everything.
I know. I was so excited. I didn't realize it picked the colors for me if I put an image in the middle until yesterday. So that was exciting. All right, so we will spin. And the first prize will be the Shark Book Return Buddy. And that is going to Stephen Ho. I'm writing them down as I go through them. Next prize is the Windows to New Worlds decal. And that goes to Neha. And the Made You Look easels. Are going to Lisa Day. And finally, the Stick Together winter poster. Goes to Alex B.
Congratulations to all of our winners. Thank you again so much for everything that you do for kids, for the profession, for advocating, and for me, honestly, because like I said, when I was in the classroom, I was on a team and my world was very small. I became a librarian and my world got so much richer and so much bigger because of all of you. So I really want to thank all of you.
And I just want to add that this experience working on the planner with Christina has been amazing for me over the last 3 years. And it's just been so rewarding to have this community be very vocal about this is what works, this is how it should change. And it just helps make this resource better and better every year because it belongs to all of you, because everyone shares their ideas. So it's, again, thank you so much for the willingness to do that, for the willingness for all of you to share your ideas. And again, Christina always says it, together we're better, but it really, this has been very rewarding for us as well.
I feel like it's very important in this time, as all times, for all of us have a voice. And again, we are listening. I'm listening. All of us here are listening. All of the people, all the librarians who are featured in the planners, they're listening. Reach out to them. And if you're not featured in the planner, reach out in the Facebook group or reach out to someone. Even if it's not someone here, reach out to someone, because we all need to have someone in our corner to help us. So again, thank you for everything that you do for the profession. And again, why does it matter? Because everything matters that you do. Love you all. Have a great, great back to school.